Awesome. We're live. I think we're live. Kyle Shirkness of the Bitcoin Pivot and other places. Welcome to the Sound HSA show. This one is, I think, it's going to be a good session. I'm excited for people in our ecosystem and whoever's watching now to learn more about you, what you've done historically in the TradFi space, but maybe the most exciting thing, what's happening with the Bitcoin pivot. So, first of all, welcome to Nashville, Tennessee. We are doing this in Bitcoin Park in the podcast studio. So, people will see a Bitcoin veterans banner behind you, which is awesome. This is a pretty cool spot for people that have not been to Bitcoin Park. This is your first trip, right?
This is my first time at Bitcoin Park. This is a wonderful place. I'm so grateful that you extended the welcome, and it just brings joy to my life. To help others and connect.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, listen, we're going to take this in a number of different directions, but maybe a little bit of background so people know. I think people have started to see you more often in the Bitcoin space. It's not by accident. I think you are working on some amazing things to further Bitcoin adoption. And so, but let's start maybe in the beginning. You're from the Philly area. That's where you currently live, and kind of maybe a little bit your origin story would be awesome.
Yeah, so I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I live in a small town called Phoenixville. Um, it's really one of the most walkable places. Actually, I love that I can have a meetup there and share in the same town with another meetup on the same street, different times of the month. But um, look, I love Philadelphia. I was born there. I uh, lived most of my life. I've lived in Huntsville, Alabama 3 times, so I can't say I've lived there the whole time, but what I find interesting about where I live and it connects to Bitcoin is what I talk about consistently, which is freedom and independence. It is the birthplace of America. We were founded on those principles, and that's a strong connection to Bitcoin. I don't want that to come across though when I say that as a maxi, I'm just all freedom. But it's important to call this out because Bitcoin has certain underlying principles that really are important to connect with Bitcoin. So I don't want to get too deep, but yeah, I love Philadelphia. My family is from there. We love living there. I have a strong community. I come from the TradFi space. I've worked most of my career in the credit union industry. Still do. This is a love for that community,
Mm.
and I will always be very highly supportive of the credit unions in this space. And I think that this is an opportunity for that industry to connect to sound money and the underlying technology of Bitcoin. And it's very close and personal to me,
Mhm.
or else I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. So, when did you first find Bitcoin? I think that's important.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to publicly disclose, when I came around that for privacy reasons to a point, but
Yeah.
I do like to say this, my wife, my loving wife, I know she's probably listening right now. She's my strongest advocate and supporter. She understands
Amen.
why I am in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I live and breathe Bitcoin daily from the time I wake up to the
Mhm.
time I go to bed. I wear the Bitcoin lapel pin literally every day. It is ingrained in my DNA. I believe in this as a generational standard,
Mm.
and I will fight for that. That is too important to not do so. Um, my sister, she also is in TradFi. She is a Bitcoiner. I love her to death. My uncle Mark, who is not always a Bitcoiner, is now a Bitcoiner. There are people in my immediate life that have been there, and they see
Mhm.
why this is so important for the future for many generations. Beyond just that, those that I work with, I am very thankful on a daily basis to them. Um, that community, I could never imagine how much love and support I have been given,
Mm.
the connections I have built, and that's where the Bitcoin pivot concept came out of. It was these connections I have with my loved ones, the people in my community. The biggest call out was lack of understanding.
Mhm.
We don't have enough education in this space, I feel like we've done a lot siloed, but we're not unified, Stu. Like we really need to come together as Bitcoiners and really do the right thing and help people understand what this is.
Yeah. Yeah. I came from the healthcare space. You and I've had this conversation similar to finance, right? Behemoth of an industry. I mean, healthcare is 20% of our GDP, actually more now. And there's a lot of legacy interests that have survived and flourished under a very dysfunctional healthcare system. Um, Finance is very similar. It's just the money system that we have in this country. It's what we've always known, and departure from things that are comfortable and that have ostensibly worked, quote unquote, worked for people. Change can be tough, and I certainly appreciate the thought process of trying to do something revolutionary, something innovative, something that will help people. And part of why I kind of when I first found Bitcoin in 2016, I was still in the surgical device game, but I was always thinking about Bitcoin, and I knew something was afoot. I came home and I told my wife, I said, I don't completely understand what's happening here, but something is happening. And will you go down this journey with me and just at least allow me to pursue this? And I applaud, the connection and the union that you and your wife have, because you have to have some freedom in your life to be able to really understand what Bitcoin is. And anyway, I just wanted to give you just a reference point of kind of my journey too is kind of similar, right? You have to have a point in time where you just have a mental space to embrace this. And then people can see it on your face. They feel what it can potentially mean and why it's so important to you or to me. And I've orange pilled a bunch of people in my sphere too. There's a famous saying that if you don't understand Bitcoin, I don't have time to explain it to you, right? And man, there is a juxtaposition of that right now, especially with the BIP 110 stuff that people automatically default saying, "Hey, we need to come together." Like there's some kind of issue. I think what you're thinking of or what you're talking about is something much, much bigger than that.
It is a lot bigger, and I appreciate that you have been like you picked on that really quick one early in our engagement or relationship in the space. As you know, I have a habit of the reputation is starting to form that if Kyle says he's going to show up, he'll show up.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Showing up matters more than ever in today's world. Conviction is even more important. And I think, you know, something you said not that, but a few minutes ago was, it's not an easy task doing what I do. I wake up every day and I'm like, I live in this world, and the Bitcoiner in me is very passionate and wants to help everybody understand this. At the same time, that comes with some great challenge. I mean, you can imagine like this is not easy for an individual to have to do. You have to have conviction. You have
Right.
to really
Mhm.
believe this is going to be something that's going to last for generations, or else you wouldn't be fighting for that and educating and bringing this to the table, right? And that's where the three C's of Bitcoin, because I know you wanted me to bring it up, because that is where I got this from my research, writing my in my dissertation process.
That's right, because you're writing your dissertation on Bitcoin,
Yeah, I mean,
or an element of
it
Bitcoin.
is an
Yeah.
element of Bitcoin,
Yeah.
which is been a very unique challenge as well. But it's the call out is real, like lack of understanding that came across many times in the lit review process, and so it was a real problem statement. I made that
Mhm.
claim, and it's in my problem statement now. And these three C's kind of came out of that: culture, creativity, and connection.
Okay.
What do we want our culture to look like, Stu? Like, as Bitcoin community, that's one,
Right.
but there's people not in the Bitcoin space, like, what about do we not want that part that we don't we want a culture that fits for everyone, a unified process or sense of belonging that we're not all strangers, like, we're just human beings.
Yeah.
Proof of humanity is the first concept.
Right.
Like, I really believe that we owe it to
It is.
ourselves to work together and drive Bitcoin adoption and implementation in the eyes of the people. Because remember, Bitcoin is for everyone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So before we get, because I want to come back to the three C's, what is the Bitcoin pivot? I've seen that obviously from you now for several months. I know you've been working hard in the space around around this concept. Tell everybody what the Bitcoin pivot is and what it represents.
yeah, so right now, I mean, the Bitcoin Pivot is a community platform. It's really for one culture, many journeys in your like people may come and want to learn, and that's why the education piece is so important here, right? We need a place where people that whether you're a Bitcoiner or not a Bitcoiner, come together and talk to one another. And I started that through podcasting. I think podcasting was the way to first connect. And I love podcasting. I think it's just wonderful. I get to interact with people. I get to invite them on shows like Kyle Knight. If you're listening right now, thank you for the Kyle and Kyle show. That has been awesome. We've given a voice to many people in the Bitcoin space, and we've even had non-Bitcoiners come on that show. But really important here is that, the community, like, I want to educate people. This is what I'm doing. I know this is the lowest hanging fruit to adoption and implementation. Once people understand it, then they'll get a better, like, why I should participate in this decentralized world. Because we are going into a decentralized world with and a convergence of innovations too.
Mhm.
And it's happening rapidly. Look at AI in the last year alone. Look at how far that's come.
Mhm.
And Bitcoin's a big part of this. I don't think people really are fully capable of or ready for that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I even have on the main website the Bitcoin Network live stats. You can even click on the right, view full network, and you can actually get a breakdown of everything that's happening. Like, what's the block height? Why is the price where it is? What's this hash rate? What is the whole network as a whole? Like, you can learn all that, and
So there's a big educational component involved.
that's what this is.
Yeah.
My mission is to educate and bring communities together, and I call us all pivoters. We're a
All
pivoter,
right.
right? That's it. We're all pivoters because at the end of the day, whether it's Bitcoin or not, you're pivoting to something in life. And the call out here is like, I do think Bitcoin will find its way into whatever you pivot in life in
Mhm.
using AI or whatnot. Whatever your journey is, this will find its way eventually.
Yeah, I agree. Um, who else is involved in the Bitcoin pivot? It's you and as a founder, but I think you have some folks also along the ride with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
my wife's a co-founder, and my good friend Jesse Markowitz is a co-founder, and we just in this, we obviously work full-time jobs, but we this is something we are passionate about. We run meetups.
Yeah.
This is really just about connecting with people and educating.
Yeah.
At this point, we have no. That's the main goal. We really think that's the most important thing that we should be doing, and we're asking Bitcoiners to do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, this is a fantastic discussion. I was talking earlier with Mike Coffey, who is the co-founder and CEO of Blue Cotton, an incredible manufacturing story out of Kentucky, and he's a huge Bitcoiner. He's developed Bitcoin incentives for his team, his employees and his team. Um, but he made the statement: "We're designed to live in community." Regardless of a religious affiliation, like
Right.
there's something bigger at work in all of us, and I think we were designed to live in community and to live in connection. And Mike brought that up on our podcast, and I think Bitcoin intuitively, or I should say, um, immediately when you meet other Bitcoiners, real Bitcoiners, regardless of their background, there is a social filter that is already satisfied of understanding of work that those people have put in to arrive at wherever they find themselves. I think though there is a belief that a concerted effort by some that to force maybe a connection, meetups, I think, do a great job of connecting us, but to force a connection through a centralized effort, um, is there something else? Is there a trust component there where people may say, well, why do we need a concerted effort like the Bitcoin pivot to do all of this? Can't that just happen organically? What are your comments to that?
You know, if I felt like the Bitcoin community space has done a good job, I don't want to make it sound like nobody has done a good job.
Right,
We all have, in our own ways, over the years,
100%.
done that.
Bitcoin Park is a great representation of
Yes,
that. Where we're sitting has done a masterful job of bringing people together under a very big tent. It's amazing.
100%.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, we're still siloed,
yeah,
and the efforts are better if you can combine within the community those efforts and say, look, we need to make sure we're fully aligned strategically of like where do we want this to go.
yeah,
I mean, look, there's no mistake here. Look at what's happening with Bitcoin. I mean, TradFi has totally found its way.
yeah.
Okay. The tech companies, the governments of the world are starting to wake up and see this is not going anywhere. So really, Bitcoin is for everyone. Like I just said it earlier, like I'm not the only one saying that.
Yeah.
We need to come together and decide what is the adoption and implementation like this for our society as a whole globally. And I think if
Yeah.
we remain siloed in our own efforts, that's not the way this should go. And I actually, again, I made a comment earlier. I've worked in the credit union industry for basically 20 years almost at this point. I love that community.
Yeah.
I actually think the credit union ethos matches 100% with the Bitcoin ethos, which is giving back and helping your communities. And that is why I believe this is going to be very impactful and powerful over time. Over the next 3 to 5 years, where people are going to look back when we did this podcast and they're going to go, Kyle was right.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I have conviction of that. I will literally go to bed tonight knowing that that was the right statement to make at this point in time.
Yeah.
That is, credit unions do a great job. All of them. They
Yeah.
have done so much for people, whether it's a small business owner or a member just trying to learn how to have better financial literacy.
Yeah.
Bitcoin has a lot of the same ethos.
Yeah.
So I just think
That's a
eventually
good
this is
point.
going to find its way. And
Yeah.
if you're an executive listening right now in that space, the most important thing you do is just start learning what this is. Don't be scared of it.
Yeah.
I think that's really what that is a barriers to.
Yeah.
Executives are just people like you and me. I mean, people make up organizations, right? So what if the Bitcoin pivots 3 C's of Bitcoin was really just a free way of saying like organizations have a strategic evolution in organizational development to understand Bitcoin.
As a part of their
Right.
offering.
It could be just
Yeah.
a way to learn. Like, I don't know if it's this or it's something, but just start learning what Bitcoin is. That's the call out. That's the call to action here.
How
Just learn.
how is that manifested? Because you've been with your institution or your organization for a while. 20 how many
Well,
years?
I've worked for multiple,
Yeah.
uh, which, everything I say, by the way, I know we're supposed to say it. I didn't say it at the beginning, but everything I say and do is not where I work. It's my views and opinions or that of my own.
Yes.
So I just want to make that very clear. But, that world has been a very supportive world of me. Like,
Yeah.
I respect every one of the people I work with, the people from top down, up and sideways, whatever you want to call it. Um, it's very personal. Like I just feel so blessed.
Yeah. I can
But
tell.
yeah,
I can feel it.
don't that doesn't mean that there's not challenges in my life. Like you have to have convictions too.
Yeah,
You
if
really,
anything.
you really do.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't think this was really important,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Right. I
And I just think this is just so important. I want my own kids to the Bitcoin's generational. I keep saying that. We all know that. But the best thing I could do for my family is knowing that one day when I'm not here is that I know that they're okay, and this
yeah.
this technology is definitely the right path for them,
Yeah.
and I know that's for a lot of other people out there,
Yeah.
and, it's obviously going in that direction. It's not a fad.
No.
This is I mean, Bitcoin's been dead how many
Yeah.
times?
Yeah.
So
What's it been like in your current organization though? Because you've talked to me before about, your efforts to orange pill and to educate.
yeah.
What's again, I suspect that's where you want to take the Bitcoin pivot from an enterprise standpoint, right? Is to help individuals, but also corporations maybe to better understand Bitcoin as a technology, as a money, as the best form of money we've ever known. I mean, what's it been like professionally within your organization?
Well, I don't really speak to that much because I have there's a lot of respect of ethics and everything.
Sure.
So, but what I will say is this: I do travel. I've traveled the world. I speak. I've been speaking on some stages. I get on podcasts, and what I will say is this: is that the Genius Act was really the starting, the tipping point. I think stable coins, coming out and being supported and being implemented. That's what really gets some organizations, really paying attention, especially if they're in TradFi.
Yeah.
But again, it's led to I just love that I can be me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting out breadcrumbs here. This is important stuff, right? Breadcrumbs. I say it all the time. It's I will never if I couldn't be a Bitcoiner, I don't have a sense of belonging.
Mm. Wow.
That is
Yeah.
that's a real factual statement. Like if I
Mhm.
cannot be me, the authentic Kyle,
Yes.
I don't belong. that is not my space.
Okay.
I do not feel that way where I am anywhere at any given point in time. I have
Yeah.
been accepted, and I am grateful for that every day I wake up. I do not take that for granted.
Yeah.
I think though, for me, my efforts in my personal life, and that's what the Bitcoin pivot for me is. It's my personal joy and outlet to help educate Bitcoin with Bitcoin. I
So
mean,
yeah.
that is my outlet still. I need that. I need that for to give the people. Like I have a lot to give. I should not waste that talent and that energy.
Yeah.
It should be used to help people.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep saying the word conviction, because if you don't have conviction in this, then what's the point? But I do. And
Yeah.
I that is important. And I really just want to help people right now. That is the focus. Education is the key here.
Yeah.
If we do not bring the right education in this, it's going to be a tough road. And I don't want anybody left behind. I really don't want anybody left behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a call out here.
Yeah. I mean, the Bitcoin pivot, I mean, it's your pivot to start, right? I mean, you created the company and the effort in terms of building it, right? It's your pivot, like in what you're doing and the conviction that you're doing this with, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this is going to be or not be long term. I think, for me, I just really, think that all the knowledge and experience is going to be filtered into this. The podcasts have really been a great joy for me.
yeah.
This is not a money maker. I want to make that fully clear. Like there's no money making here. I
Yeah.
literally pay to bring all the infrastructure for the podcast and these resources. There is a small cost if you want to join the community that is very low impact cost.
Yeah.
That is just to cover my cost. I
Yeah.
mean, there is back end infrastructure, right? Like better system design. So that's one thing we didn't talk about.
Yes.
I focus on building better system designs.
Mhm.
And actually, Bitcoin is the innovative example that flipped that switch for me.
Mm.
Satoshi Nakamoto didn't create something new. Satoshi Nakamoto took various components in the space and said, "Wait, I think I can solve a problem." And that's an innovative example of building a better system design.
Mhm.
So I like to focus on legacy systems or systems that are siloed and how can they come together
Mm.
and create something better,
Love that.
right? So that's also another piece of the 3 C's of Bitcoin, like culture, creativity, and connection. We as a culture decide what we want to have happen, what we will accept and adopt. Then we use creativity, which is taking the ideas and concepts and forge something new, right? And then you use connection, which is reducing the gap or breaking down the silos and reducing gaps and building bridges to give it to people to use. So that is why this is so important.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is the innovative example. And I think Satoshi Nakamoto wants us to use it to build better system designs. I really think that.
Yeah. That's an interesting observation. People, sometimes when I first got into to Bitcoin, there was like, all the shiny objects of altcoins and, that started to pop up right in mass. And we've seen how many altcoins and cryptos are there out there now. But it was the shiny object in the corner that diverted a lot of people's attention, saying, "Well, hey, Bitcoin is the MySpace." That was the MySpace reference relative to Facebook, and something like Ethereum is Facebook. And what people didn't realize was the computer science breakthroughs. There have been so many attempts to do digital gold or digital cash before Bitcoin that failed because of centralization, just because of poor system design, right? Because of the double spin problem, all the things that were solved because of the confluence of tech that Bitcoin is. It's not just blockchain tech. That's actually the least,
Right.
the time chain obviously is critical, but there's so many other pieces. Like when I didn't really understand Bitcoin until I started mining. Like it took, because I'm a non-technical person. I come in and I started retail mining like in 2019 or 2020. And then when the first China ban or the second one, or how many times China ban, I don't know. But the hash rate dropped off tremendously.
Yeah.
And when the next difficulty adjustment, I saw how much more productive my little mining, pool was when that happened. I'm like, oh, that's what the difficulty adjustment means.
Yeah.
And for someone like me, it took going down that hole to like understand. But I'm glad I did, because now I know why Bitcoin is so important, why proof of work is so important. That doesn't happen overnight. And so you mentioned the term education. How do we create more opportunities for education through the Bitcoin pivot? Because I know that's a cornerstone.
Yeah, absolutely. I look, I I mine Bitcoin. I mean, people know me. I mean,
Yeah.
they've heard me say it. So mining Bitcoin is the absolute best way to understand it. But I understand that's also could be a barrier because I mean, look, I mean, the equipment is expensive.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I also thought, well, how could I take that mining concept, right, and put it into here, and you can actually click on the full or view full network on the site and learn all about what the different components of the mining process is and
Right.
understand what these terms mean. And that's back to the education.
Yeah.
Like, you know, don't put the chicken before the egg is what I've been told a lot. So I picked up that and use it a lot now. Like, don't build something if you don't know what you're building it for. Start with education, build the knowledge base of where do you think this should, how does this fit in your world, personally, professionally? And then you start the building process, like that creativity process, right? Once you understand what you're building for, whether it's personally or professionally, then you're going to know how to connect it,
Yeah.
right? And so education is absolutely the lowest hanging fruit. This is what the next 2 to 3 years in the world is going to. We need this now.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's these bills that have been going through. The Genius Act went through last July 2025. It goes fully into effect in January, and the Clarity Act is right now hanging in the Senate. Which
Right.
I Uncle Mark, if you're watching right now, love you to death. Thank you for all you do. He even came in January to visit with some senators. So uh, the point is, we need some of people may think, oh, well, why do we need regulation? Well, we need regulation to give us clarity on this.
Yeah.
Okay. That is education in of itself. I mean, right now you got people in our Congress that are trying to understand this themselves and just try to get behind it and see how it can support it and not kill innovation, right?
Right.
That's an
Mhm.
important call out.
That's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
And I do think that this bill gets pushed and there's things in there I really do respect and appreciate. Like we have developer protection, self custody,
Right.
those are important to us in the Bitcoin space, but then there's others that are not in the Bitcoin space that go, well, why is this bill important to me? Like if you're in the TradFi space, you could look at it, you could perceive it as, well, the crypto exchanges are now going to win.
Right.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think there's a
Mhm.
balance here. I think that this will give clarity to what both sides of the equation can do and not do.
Mhm.
And but at the end of the day, like, I just feel like there's so much competition, Stu. Like, what about like some Jesse always says, like, "Co-opetition." Where is the co-opetition? I know we're all people wanna compete. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is, like, something like this that's historical, like, from an innovation standpoint, the competitors need to have co-opetition,
Yeah.
and they need to come together and try to figure this out for proof of humanity in the long run.
Yeah. Frenemies.
Brandon, well, I no, look.
No, I think it's again, you mentioned the term silo. And, my experience coming into Bitcoin, it's like you had to, you kind of had to go to school, right? It's like, okay, here's some resources, and it was really up to you to go do the homework and do the tough work to learn the technology, why it was important, the aspects of Bitcoin, how what did it mean for your life, my life, like, and people. I think there is an opportunity for people to come in and find educational sources that are trusted, that they feel confident in, that they can plug into. What are some ways that you're excited about in terms of living out the message of the Bitcoin pivot? So you mentioned podcasting. Obviously, there's meetups and there's things like that. What are some other things that you're hopeful to kind of instantiate as a part of this?
I think for me, the Bitcoin pivot will be a long term. It'll be for me to pass on.
Mm,
It's generational. I don't know. I started this, but that doesn't mean it's me that finishes it. I think I'm building for people to have in their life. I mean, there's so many things that go through my head too. Like
yeah.
I can't name them all because it's overwhelming sometimes for me.
Yeah.
I think that this concept will flourish and be in every organization one day,
Mhm.
but it's not going to be me that does that. It's got to be people in the organizations.
Right.
They need to be the ones to say, are we adopting or implementing Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Does it fit a real purpose for us? Like people need the more education we give the people, the tools, they will decide as individuals what we want in our organizations.
Right.
I can speak from personal experience that I would have never seen as much support, even like my regular job, like where I
Mhm.
work, how much support that was.
Yeah.
That's just like, you know, no words can describe that.
Yeah.
That means either one, I have done something to make an impact on your life
Mhm.
and it means something to you, or two, you just want to know more. And maybe that would coming and saying something to have an interaction just to learn is the start of your Bitcoin journey. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, a lot of emotions, like, it's okay to have emotions, right? Like,
100%, man.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like,
Yeah.
you can I don't know if you can imagine, like, waking up every day and being me, but my wife does, she my German Shepherd Millie, she definitely sees it every morning,
Yeah.
so I, I'll just say this,
Yeah.
one if I had to pick one word, that word is blessed,
Mhm.
and, I turned 40 here in September. It's amazing, Stu, like,
Yeah.
it's a milestone for me. Like,
Yeah.
for me personally, I think that has been hitting me hard. I don't know why.
Well, and I'm older than you are. Legacy starts to come in, I think, for men in their 40s, and I don't want to overgeneralize. It's different for everybody. I get it, but like, get to a point, you've had enough life experience, work experience. You maybe have a family. You being generally speaking, and those eternal things, if I can use that word, like legacy stuff starts coming in. What is my contribution? What can I do to help? What more can I do? And for me, being kind of growing up in a traditional healthcare system where we know the bloat of the healthcare system is 5.3 trillion. We use that stat all the time. I watched how the more surgeries my companies did, and we helped thousands, and those technologies continue to help tens of thousands of people. It's not an indictment on innovation, but a fee for service health economy where the
Yeah.
more tests are ordered, more drug prescriptions that are, filled, more devices that are used, more. Let's use the healthcare system more as much as possible. When I found Bitcoin, I'm like, wait a minute, there's truth here. It's lean, right? It's well thought out. There's super intelligent people that are involved, and from that point on, I was trying to figure out what contribution can I make. Someone with a tremendous amount of health enterprise experience launching health and med tech companies and scaling them to bring health into this discussion. Because I also noticed that health tended to be a part of a lot of Bitcoiners like live, in terms of fitness or whatever, or just a study of it. And that that was my calling to do something at the intersection of health and Bitcoin. And there were a lot of failed attempts in 2017 with blockchain for health and all that BS. And please, yeah, forgive my past sins, for those listening and watching. But no, that I had to go through that to understand really what Bitcoin was, like what Bitcoin was, not crypto, not blockchain, none of that. And Sound HSA is my contribution, and my co-founders, John Gordon. So
Look, we spoke a lot about me in this. I would like to turn it and say I want to thank you for what you're doing and your efforts. It means
oh,
something, and
thanks, man.
I'll tell you why it's personal for me,
Yeah,
and that's why I have shown up at like any
yeah,
events you're doing. I've shown up because I my wife has a disability. Rheumatoid arthritis is like I don't think people see what I see every day,
yeah.
and you created a new vehicle, an opportunity to put Bitcoin that is like I said, is a generational standard
Mm,
in this vehicle that's so important, and it's triple tax advantage,
mm.
and I can use that not only for healthcare, like we talk about low time preference all the time,
Yeah,
right?
we do. Yeah.
And if anybody watching this right now, like what low time preferences, like I am willing to delay reward gratification
Yeah.
for a later point in my life. And because of what I know about Bitcoin and have for a long time, is that that will be there years from now, and I
Mhm.
know it'll take care of those I love the most. And you're the first
Mm.
with you and John, what you did, and your team delivered that,
Yeah.
and that met
Well,
my
thank you.
personal life. So with what my family needs,
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
that's a better system design.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I saw. It was it was intuitive to me, but it's hard to do new stuff, right? But I think it's worth it, right? Life wasn't meant to be easy. It was meant to pay a price for worthwhile goals, right? At the end of the deal. If it's not hard, it's probably not worthwhile at some level, right?
If it's not,
Yeah.
if it's easy, Stu,
Yeah.
nothing should be easy or else everybody would do it.
Right.
Like let me go back and I'm doing my PhD right now, and Uncle Mark and my wife have been through this process with me because that is a challenge in and of itself.
Yeah.
If it was easy, everybody would get a PhD,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is no different with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not. It's a personal journey for everyone.
Yeah.
It is not easy. If it was easy, then you wouldn't be able to build that conviction, like I keep saying.
Yeah.
Once I know what I know about Bitcoin, it's it's hard to unknow it.
It's you can't look away.
You can't.
That's what happened to me. I
Yeah.
mean, and like you mentioned, not you mentioned being kind of on the more um, on the down low with your involvement in Bitcoin for a long, long time. It was that way for me too because you kind of spend a big chunk of your professional career, going through a certain path, and at some point you're like, this is too
Yeah.
important. This is too important. The implications are too important.
I think 3 years ago is when I, like, really became vocal in
Mhm.
Bitcoin,
Yeah.
as a Bitcoiner.
Yeah.
So it was, like, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have done that any sooner than that.
Yeah.
Once I and my my wife, if she's listening right now, she'll remember, like, I used to there was a time when I'm like, "Yeah, Bitcoin is too slow. It's not gonna," even though I knew I'm like, "This isn't gonna work." And then I'm like, yeah, I saw what happened with the whole alt season, the first like during COVID and all post COVID. And I'm like, yeah, this is not a good, I don't like what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that just that was further conviction like, okay, Bitcoin is the trust anchor.
Yeah.
And I knew that was what I needed to do research, like this technology. And I actually picked for my research, I actually took it as the KYC process because I think the
Mm,
IDs, right?
mm.
And it's caused a little bit of confliction. But look, I think there's a lot of process improvement to be done to give more people ownership rights, control of their identity.
Yeah.
And I think DIDs do have a purpose, and that's where my research it's not the KYC process. I'm looking how to turn that into something different and better for people, but
Mhm.
also
That's good.
yeah, so yeah, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's been a great journey so far.
Yeah.
I'm glad I became vocal 3 years ago as much as I did and I keep doing.
Yeah.
I want to be able to live the rest of my life,
Mhm.
uh, what brings me joy and happy and passion, and I'm very passionate about this. I do this for everybody, not for me. So I just wanna make sure that people listening understand, like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the Bitcoin community. If you're a builder in Bitcoin,
Yeah.
I'm here to support you. I will not deny that. I will show up when it matters. And Stu, I think you better than anybody now can say, like,
He will. He'll show up.
I will show up. If you're I don't care who you are. If you called me up and said you want to learn, yeah, you want to just learn stable coins? Great. Let's talk stable coins. Like that's still important too. Like I
Yeah.
actually think Bitcoin and stable coins have a direct like you can't do one without the other. I've always said that.
Yeah.
And there's reasons for that, but that's a deeper conversation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
look, if you want to know something, I'm happy. I'm an open book. I mean,
Yeah.
I look. I've been to Prague twice in the last 6 months or 8 months.
Yeah.
Was Ireland. My wife went with me to that. I've gone to other several events. I run
Yeah.
meetups. Last week, I do want to say this is really cool.
Talk to me.
The coffee shop behind where I work put in Square terminals, and
Oh, sweet.
yeah. So I finally there's video of me doing this. I finally decided that day to push the button on the front of the terminal that I'm sure nobody else seems to know that's there. This little toggle,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I decided to pay for everyone's coffee that was with me in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And what was the coolest part about
Did people
that?
watch you do it? I mean, like, were they
Yes,
like looking over your shoulder? Yeah.
everybody's watching
Yeah.
me do this, and but even the ladies, the wonderful baristas, I guess we call them the coffee shop. So they were like, "What's going on? The terminals, it's Bitcoin."
Yeah.
And I, but seeing there was so much joy on their faces. They were like like this is so cool to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I don't until people see this and witness that experience, I don't think that's the best way to learn Bitcoin.
Well, if you've not sent a Bitcoin transaction
Yeah.
and you are a detractor, if,
No,
what
and we don't like to use that still.
whatever. If you
Let's not
if
use that.
well, if you've never sent a transaction, then you haven't experienced Bitcoin.
That's
And that's the thing. If people want to dismiss Bitcoin, you need to you need to send a transaction and play with the technology. Have some experience.
absolutely 100%. And that's why it made sense that day to pay for coffee. That I go to that coffee shop a lot. I'm gonna make my meet. I'm gonna have a meet up there now because I think it's important because people that understand Bitcoin in that way, like paying for their coffee,
Yeah.
that'll be the best educational tool for adoption and implementation purposes. I will never forget the day when those individuals behind there saw me pay with Bitcoin. And I think they were honestly thinking like, "Oh, it's not just something you buy and think it's like a stock or something."
Mhm.
No, they're like, "This guy just literally paid in Bitcoin."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was cool because you know what? As long as that, I'll keep doing that. I love spending Bitcoin. Any ever opportunity I get to spend. I mean, look, I will say it. It's on my laptop here. Bitcoin is money, Stu,
Yeah.
and we should spend it as such.
Yeah.
It's just digital currency. It's not some scary, bad actor thing. The technology's sound,
Yeah.
and I will defend it. I will be a strong advocate in the space, and I will show up when it matters to help support it.
Culture, creativity, connection are the 3 C's of the Bitcoin pivot. Where can people go? What's your web address where people can get
Yeah,
updates?
it's just the bitcoinpivot.com. I mean,
Yeah.
you can get to our podcast, you can go into the Pivot community. It's free to join. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a free, like I said, the minimal cost for the other tiers is really just to pay because there's some cool stuff in there. I create like a game,
Yeah.
to like learn. It's like a kind of like a Typhoon or a Zelda kind of format. I didn't take their stuff. It's just I kind of made it like a fun learning.
Yeah.
There's these like 10 levels of learning of like even the white paper. Like that's one of my biggest call to actions on my podcast all the time is have you ever read the Bitcoin white paper? Well, now I just gave you an easy way to learn. So go in, it's free. Just learn the Bitcoin white paper, take some quizzes, and there's a game. There's also a community forum where you can talk and learn, and you can see where there's conferences around the world, and find your local meetup. You can post your meetup in there. I mean, there's a lot in there that's just for people.
Yeah. So your call to action, any individual,
Yes,
any organization that desires to bring Bitcoin more into their culture, into their understanding, looking for educational resources, that's a big part of what the Bitcoin pivot is.
that is 100% what it is. It's look, Bitcoin is permissionless.
Yeah.
I don't need a permission to interact with it. You don't need it either. Neither does the organizations. It's free to everybody to use.
Yeah.
And so I'm no different.
Yeah.
Let me do what I can
Yeah.
to help with that ethos.
Yeah. I know, in the time that we have left, in a few minutes, all of those educational components for sound, HSA, are fundamental. That was the opportunity John and I saw too, and our team continues to see is we built and will continue to build on a product that educates people who, in this case, how to self-direct an HSA, whether it's through their employer's payroll or if they just open one up on the retail market. And so I know you've been helpful in kind of your experience in designing TradFi products and UX and those kind of things and giving good feedback. Um, but I saw a huge need for people to understand one of the best tax advantage products in the US tax code that is so grossly underused. And when it's used, it's unfortunately used as a debit card account more so than as a triple tax advantage savings vehicle that gives optionality for people now. And your point about your all's particular health instance later. So, you couple it with things like direct primary care, which you can now use your HSA for direct
Yeah.
primary care, effective January 1 of this year. You can use it for telehealth. You can use it for a variety of things, fertility treatments, longevity, wellness pursuits, letters of medical necessity, devices and things that your provider deems medically necessary. You can use your HSA for so many things to optimize a health experience to the best possible extent that we can. Health is not binary. In other words, we can make all the right decisions and we still get an outcome sometimes that's inexplicable, right? We don't understand everything, at least not yet, why things happen. Conversely, we know people that maybe don't practice the best health and they live until they're 95. That's not the point. The point is to give people optionality in whatever their health pursuits are now, 10 years from now, in perpetuity, as long as they live in this vehicle, the health savings account that we have now enabled to hold actual real Bitcoin, I feel is fundamental in someone's overall health journey, that a portion of it should be invested in this asset. And we are the first people to commercialize this effort. And we continue to improve and just try to improve every day to offer something that people can believe in, can get behind, and can benefit from.
And that's what got my attention, Stu. You guys, your organization showed up with something that matters to me and my family,
Yeah.
and that fulfilled a need.
Yeah.
And obviously, my conviction in Bitcoin. We have had personal
Sure.
conversations even while I'm here at Bitcoin
Yeah.
Park, near Vanderbilt University here of all places, which is awesome. But look, you delivered something that matters. It's amazing. I do think you'll have more of that out there someday, but I'm really grateful that you have given me a voice. You have given me something to work with in my for my family's needs, and I'm just grateful to have built this rapport with you and to support you where I can. And because look, the healthcare system for me is very personal. As I said, my
Yeah.
wife. If it wasn't for even for that, like I actually think that's got more broken system designs than even the financial side of things, right?
For sure.
I mean, so it's all about humanity at the end of the day.
It is. And, transparency is a big part of this too. And, on the healthcare piece, I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Some of the greatest physicians and people in the healthcare space live and have come out of Nashville. And I too am grateful for Nashville's healthcare community and what they've achieved over many, many decades. But we have a system that is largely dysfunctional. And where I see the opportunity are true transparent marketplaces for price of value for value
Mhm.
of health goods and services that does not exist for the most part today in this country. There are people that have attempted and are putting together those platforms like Surgery Center of Oklahoma. They publish all of their prices for surgery on their website, and that's what we need to get to, right? Bitcoin, I think, enables an ethos of transparency where whether you accept Bitcoin for payment as a physician or a provider, that's great. I think there's an opportunity, though, to create a true market where, what Bitcoin does inside our product is it enhances spending power over time, which Bitcoin does anyway. But you've got some cool tax advantages in this particular vehicle to do that. I think we need more of that. I think people need to have more optionality, and we've gotten into this system where there's just so much bloat,
Yeah.
and no one's a bad guy. It's
No.
just where we've arrived, and the people that are trying to make meaningful change in it, and it has to do with a real marketplace. Until we get there, you're not going to see a meaningful change in terms of the cost of care come down, and that's why sovereignty over health and health finance, personal health finance, is so important.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. It's a part of the equation. It's not the whole solution, but it's a part of the equation. So,
No.
yeah.
Well, thank you again, Stu, for
Yeah, man.
having me down here and for giving me another platform of voice.
We'll do it again.
We will.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll continue to show up.
Okay. So again, the bitcoinpivot.com.
Yeah.
If people want to start their educational process with you, and more to come, right?
Yeah.
From the Bitcoin Pivot.
Well, yeah, there's always something coming out
Yeah.
new, and obviously we're gonna do more events, but there'll be more to come on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody watching or listening wants to learn more about Sound HSA, you go to soundhsa.com. You can book a call with our team if you just want to get an informational call. We'd love to talk to you, and we'd love to have you as a customer as well, if it makes sense. So, Kyle Shirkness, thanks so much.
Thanks, Stu.
All right, man.